And welcome back, guys. My name is Sal Cosentino. I'm your systems architect, future MCT trainer, Sal Cosentino. I'm also, I am an architect, but again, I'm also an engineer. I own my own business, so I play the role of MCT architect um, and trainer. I'm a trainer full time. I have my YouTube channel. I train a lot of students globally and, visiting different faculties. So I train a lot of students globally. Um, and I train a few students here in Ontario. And I visit a few faculties while I do that part time. So, one of my main goals is to, this is going to be part two. So one of my main goals is to kind of get you guys to learn. Even if you have no experience and you want to learn a little bit, you will learn in these videos. I can guarantee you will learn. There were long videos, fine, it doesn't matter, but you will learn in these videos, and I promise you will learn. You'll get a lot of information out of this. You'll get a lot of takeaways out of this, and I hope you do. And I hope you use this video and you leave your comments, you join my WhatsApp group, and again, you learn from it. You take notes, you apply your knowledge from what you see, and do it on your own end, right? So a lot of people don't have the opportunity to do it. That's fine. There's ways of that I can get you to architect a 2 VM machine and connect it to your ESXi hypervisor 7 or 8, right? Right? So I want you to understand, you have the laptop ready, you have a 16 GB laptop, at least I expect a minimum at least, or 32 or 24. A lot of my students will purchase these types of laptops, right? That way they are prepared for when they're designing these VMs and they're building these VMs, right? So, this picture here is when this picture here was built with three hypervisor, tier of hypervisor. And in this instance, I have one Active Directory that's acting as my software SAN. Uh, it acts as my DHCP, my DNS, and my Active Directory, my AAA. So this seems like, not something that you would typically architect, but in your home labs, why not? It's something to learn on and something to kind of build some experience and get some hands on and get your hands dirty at the same time, right? So, you know, as architects, yeah, we need to understand the business acumen and you know the trade-offs, right? And how this trades off, right? But and just remember, I'm also training for your system administrators. You want to get that level of experience so that you're able to learn and also work towards your goal, which is your certification, right? Your VCP 7. So this will also train you for your VCP 7, right? There are many courses out there that we offer. I offer as well too. Just give me a shout, send me a message on WhatsApp or at the end. We can definitely talk about it. Um, I prefer, you know, uh, locally. So like for Canadian and US um, users only. But again, there are other ways that we can talk about getting this getting this done for you, right? So I've been doing this for a long time, right? So again, my company's called In Production by Inc. 2. This company's been around for a long time. I've trained multiple thousands of students locally, and hundreds of students. It's I didn't publicize this on YouTube till about maybe a year and a half ago. So I'm slowly getting back into the groove again. A lot of my videos were private. These were just private videos that I send over to my students that had access only to their emails, right? So, I'm trying to publicize this. I'm not looking for, any money or any, I'm just looking for um, you guys to have a good time and learn, right? Get your hands on, get your experience, write the stuff down, hundreds of times, sort of like what I'm doing, because it does get to you, right? Like it this will help you, trust me. Um, you know, so enjoy, step back again, enjoy, and again, we have a lot to talk about. I know from our last conversation, and I'm going to do this in numbers here. So from our last conversation, um, in part one, our goal was to extend the ESXi license. So in that case, I showed you guys how to this. I discussed about the Broadcom accounts and how to get your VMware Workstation Pro set up, get your own account set up, download the ESXi if you have to, and use their 40 days, right? So, but there are times where you know you might have a virtual machine already in there, and as a virtual machine it's expired, right? Or you have your license available and you want to learn how to extend the license for 2 more months on your evaluation period, right? So this would be on your evaluation period, right? It'll have a lot of the goodies and a lot of the benefits, right? Ooh, this is going to be the evaluation period. Oh, sorry guys, give me 1 second. Do that. Okay. So, being able to extend that license for 2 months, I'm going to show you guys how to extend that, and we're going to be using PowerShell. PowerShell. We're going to be using Putty, and we're going to download Putty for you, and we are going to, show you how to work around with the data store browser. So we're going to create a software SAN and SCSI in later videos. So it's good to keep this. So you're going to see a lot of videos come out, and this will also be this will also be for vSphere client, right? So it's going to be our vSphere client appliance, vCenter. So we're going to create that VIP machine, and this will be an option again, to create the iSCSI targets and initiators, and that's within our Windows server environment. And I'll show you how that in future videos. So for now, we're going to upload our ISOs, right? So if you haven't downloaded your ISOs, download them now. Visit um, Microsoft website for Windows Server editions, right? That's going to be your legit your go-to site for Windows servers, right? Windows Server 2019, 2022, 2012, right? And 2025. So I want you to download all four of them, right? So get used to downloading all four of them. I will show you one for now, um, just so that you have a better idea. But just remember, in 2016. So make sure you download them all, right? And put them in a folder, right? So you'll see how I I put them in a folder, right? You'll see that I have them here. Um, show you folder here. All right, so if I go down, I have my Windows 7, 10, 11, 95, 98, etc. Windows 12 servers, right? So I'll have all my servers here, and I'll download them all, and I'll upload one or two of them to my ISO, and I'll show you how to do that too. I think it's here. Here you go. There you go. And so we'll have my servers here. Right? So this will be all my servers. So these are all my servers, right? So get used to downloading all of them. I don't want you to download every single solitary one of them, but download the ones that I said that are current, 2016, 19, 22, and 25. If you want to download 2012, please by all means also download the 2012 version ISO. And download that in a USB or thumb drive or anywhere, but just remember create the server infrastructure and create your thing. And sometimes it's even best to you can also number them, right? So you can number your different servers so that you know where they go, right? A lot of the times when they you download them, they come in different wording, and Microsoft gives you the different wording. So good to learn. So you know, and I'll put down folder structure creation to keep your ISOs in, right? Um, I want to stress, and this is for design aspect of it, right? I want to stress one thing when you're designing this, and this is going to come to our designer infrastructure after we've discussed, our plan for today, uh, our plan, right? Well, that's what we and then talk about we talked about yesterday. So we're gonna discuss, you know, our plan, and we are discussing our plan, but just keep a note that when we're getting ready to design this, you have to understand that um, have the right hardware, right? Don't be shy to spend the money if and or reuse specific hardware that you have. Go buy yourself a USB drive, and I'll explain why. Because a lot of the times you have students that don't have enough space or enough RAM in their hard drive, so sometimes it's best to disable or shut down a lot of the services that are running, a lot of the applications that are running in the background. So that way you have at least 80, 75%. Oh, not 75, but you need at least you'll need a good chunk of change, right? So when I say a 16 GB laptop, it's a common, even a 12 GB laptop, but 16 GB laptop, 24 GB laptop, 32, the more the merrier, right? If you've got terabytes, 512 GB, um, you know RAM laptop. I'm talking about physical RAM, right? So when we go ahead and design it, let me design this out for you. And you're gonna see, right? And you're gonna see this architecture, not design. Sorry, you're gonna see my design, and you're gonna understand that we have our cloud environments and we have our on-premises environments, and within our on-premises environment, this is sort of gonna act as our local domain, right? Our on-premises, our sites, um, our child domain or our branches, which is where we're physically inside our data centers or within our campus or within our location, right? So this is going to act as our location within our um, campus or within our building or within our site on premises, right? And this is also going to be a local to us, which is our local LAN. Um, it's going to be uh, locally for us, right? So that way it's um, it's ready to go. You know, this can also be in the cloud, but I don't recommend it. Again, a lot of companies will have, this in cloud, and they'll also have their cloud to cloud, right? But in this instance, I prefer, your on-premises to cloud environment and the connections within that, right? So you're gonna have your basic, you know, machines, right? So you're gonna have your machines, and I'm going to, you know, color them in a purple color, right? And I want to ensure that these machines all have the same size, right? And I will uh, I will select this and move this a little bit more, and I'll connect that for you as well. And then I will again draw my um, four machines, and you guys kind of get the gist of it. Should have made this a little bit bigger, but it's okay. And I'll make this purple. This will also be purple. This isn't, the full architecture. There's no security. This is just a basic infrastructure environment. Um, and this will have your virtual machines, within it. And again, this will also, have a layer, right? Oops, back. And I will make this a little darker. So again, oh, this will have, I'm gonna make this a straight line. Okay, that's why. Okay, so this will be a straight line, and I will go directly across these four machines, right? And again, this is all connected in our branch. These are just hypervisors, right? They're bare metal machines. They're all hypervisors, right? So you'll note that, this is a hypervisor, right? This is also a hypervisor. This is a hypervisor. And I explained to you in my last class that this is software based because we're in our this is going to be in our hypervisor 2 environment, right? So you'll note that everything we do here is going to be in our hypervisor 2 environment. And I'll explain here too. And I'm going to fill this solid color. All right. So this is going to be our hypervisor and our hypervisor 2 software. 2 green hypervisor 2. And this is done within Workstation Pro. Right? On our laptops. Okay. And I'm going to bring a picture of my laptop. And that will be exit here diagram. And I will give you guys a picture of my laptop here. So this is going to be my laptop. So remember, I'm accessing everything from my laptop here. Right? Right? And then this is going to be, just note that this is my software, right? So it's in here, it's logical. Right? So this is going to be there. And my I will denote my picture here as that, and this will be in here. So, right? So this is going to be our hypervisor, our Workstation Pro picture. And this is going to be similar. So if you look at these four boxes here, I want to make this as simple as possible, right? So uh, to understand, and this is all, locally, this is all logical. This is all locally on the software. So again, when we're installing, and this is going to be our hardware, right? So this will be our hardware. Going to be our physical hardware. So this is going to be our USB or drive or USB drive or server, right? So that's going to be what that is. And that'll connect to, and again, I recommend that as a backup drive, because what I want you guys to understand is all these files that we create will be, this file here will be saved here. So any of the files that we create or any of the servers that we create, we're going to save it here rather than save it on our C drive, right? So we're going to avoid using our drive. We're going to avoid using our drive. So, um, you know, at all costs, we're going to avoid using our drive. And, the reason why I said this because I want to, you know, kind of delegate or delegate the administration of this on a separate drive. That way it's, available to that drive. And the more you have, the better it is, right? So, a terabyte drive is good. Even a terabyte or 2 terabyte thumb drive. You can do a SAN solution. You can do, a server solution, right? And again, but I typically say USB is the cheapest route, just because I've done this so many times, and it's just, something I would recommend to everybody to do, because it's it's something I would recommend, right? And I think it's important that you guys, follow along and kind of work with me on this one too, because you'll understand where I'm going with this. So just remember, this is the underlying software, right? This is the underlying root, right? And our four machines are physical in the real environment, and I'll send you guys a picture of what a server looks like. So this is what a server would look like to us, right? I want you guys to know that, because this is important, right? So this is what a server looks like, and if I take this part here, cut, and I just stick it here, and I just put it right here, right? That's what that is, right? So when we talk about, and these are just the disks, right? So this machine could be anywhere, pretty much, right? So you'll have this machine here, right? You'll have this machine here. You'll have this machine here, right? You'll have this machine here. It doesn't matter where you have it, you'll have them on a disk, right? And you also have network cards, right? So you also have the network cards, and then you'll have those network cards, right? And you can have many, many network cards, right? But again, two network cards for high availability, for NIC teaming. So, typically I'd say for physical, right? So this could be physical or it could be virtual. And in this instance, this is virtual, right? So this is a logical piece of software. And in these hypervisor, so they're all going to be the same. So in this hypervisor, right? And this is where the NIC cards are. If I go back to the pen here, so your NIC cards are here, right? So that's what's going to take the NICs, right? You're going to have these four NICs allocated, and then in this machine, this virtual machine, we're going to create a virtual machine, right? Or hardware that has, or four, let's say four, because this machine has four, right? So this has four. And then this will have, again, 8 disks, but and a C drive, right? So it'll have an operating system. right, which is your physical disk. And I'll um, also have another disk for high availability, right? So if we're dividing, if we're splitting this stuff apart, we have this one machine here. So this is going to be our machine, and then within this machine, we're going to have two disks, right? We'll have our two disks. We'll have our two disks, and then within here we'll have each virtual machine I want at least. Um, I want at least two network cards per machine, right? So, but in this server here, you'll see four network ports. So I'll only have four connections, four internet connections, right? Um, so you'll get four internet connections on this server, but I want each machine to have, two for Nick teaming or just for, a fallback, just in case. And then our operating system will be installed here, which is our physical disk, right? This, and we'll call this C drive. So this is where our operating system is going to be, right? I'll copy that, paste that, and then this one's going to be our E drive. We'll call it physical E, right? And then this is going to be our physical NIC, but in this case it's logical, physical NIC 1, and that's going to be Ethernet 0. And then you also have, and then and I'll make this a little bit bigger in a second, just because I know you guys probably can't see it, it's a little too small, but I want to see if I can zoom in. Give me 1 second. All right, so I'm just gonna finish up here just so you guys have a better understanding. And this is going to be Ethernet 1. If not, what I'll do is I'll select it and I'll put it on another page. That way it's not interfering with anything. But you guys kind of get the point. I designed this for everybody yesterday, just to kind of have an understanding. But remember, the difference is you have your physical hypervisor machines, and then within, or your servers, and then these servers are going to have disks, right? And then they're going to be connected to RAID, and they're going to have their CPU and their RAM, and it's going to allocate in their different cards, and those cards are going to have to give internet to these eight disks, right? Or these virtual machines. There's many virtual machines I put in here, right? So I'm going to open up another page, and I'm going to paste. I want to paste that, right? So I hope we're all on the same page, right? And then this is going to be our underlying hardware, right? This piece is going to be our underlying hardware. So this hypervisor is going to have an operating system. So this is going to be a hypervisor, right? Uh, for ESXi, right? And that's going to have our operating system. Or it could just be a Windows server, right? So we're going to have our Windows server operating system, OS or hypervisor, Windows OS or hypervisor, ESXi hypervisor, ESXi hyper. And this is what we're going to do. And this is what we did yesterday. So, uh, you know, this is all virtual, right? And again, just understand that on top of that is when we're going to install our software, right? We're going to have our operating system, and then within that, we're going to install our software. our roles, and we're gonna have our DC. So this is gonna be our domain controller. If it's a Windows, it's gonna act as a domain controller, right, for Windows. And again, our second machine is gonna be our VIP machine if it's a ESXi, and that's gonna be for vSphere, right? Back in the days, back before I think 6 or 6 point, I can't remember off the top of my head, but we had two domain controller machines or two Windows server machines, and then we would install the vSphere client on a server machine, a member machine that's joined to the domain. Uh, so again, these are just the two options that we can do. Right? And I'm going to make this a little bit bigger. And I think I should make this a little bit bigger. I know you guys probably like this is too small, so I'm going to try to make this a little bit bigger for you guys. And again, this is just an option, right? So if it was a hypervisor only, right? That's got ESXi installed on it with ESXi software, right? Um, so those are two options, right? Some servers, some ESXis for default, they have their own um, specifics. And I'll show you what I did in mine and when I get to the actual design aspect of it. But just remember that this is going to be our four machine approach, and we're going to have our ESXi's here, ESXi 01. That's going to be our ESXi, and I'm going to make this 36 just because it's small. So this machine's going to be ESXi 1, right? This is going to be ESXi 2, and this is going to be ESXi 3. Okay? And you'll see this approach already built, and this is going to be our domain controller, right? And this will have AAA DNS. Okay. Again, this is all in again, it could be in a building, branch, site, or on-premises environment. Okay. Anywhere. Just remember, these are just some examples. Site, campus, data center, or on-premises environment. It all depends on where you are and what the purpose of it is, right? Um, this possibilities are endless again, but again, the data center obviously it'll have racks, it'll have its power supplies, it'll have its GPUs, it'll have its um, HVAC systems, it'll have its battery backups, routers and switches. But just remember, this is just the basic infrastructure of what we're designing here for VMware to get us going to show you what it looks like. It has its own um, it has its own give me a second. So it has its own requirements when we're designing your ESXi's and our hardware systems. Just remember that. It's important to note, right? So we have our four machines. It's gonna have two disks. It's gonna have two network cards. It needs at least two CPU cores in each of these machines. So these machines are gonna have two CPUs or two cores, right? Each machine is gonna have that. They need to support 64-bit or 86-bit processors. VMware has a compatibility guide. I want you to see that compatibility guide. It requires, your NX bits for CPU in the BIOS. It requires, at least 8 GB physical RAM, right? So, you know, not only the CPUs have to be similar, right? But, you know, um, just make sure you have two CPUs available throughout that. And you can look at your laptop settings, right? Your laptops will probably have 8 cores, right? It'll have 8 cores on your laptop, and that should work enough. Um, you should have at least 12 GB on your system itself. So just remember, you should have 12 GB of RAM or more. I recommend 24, 32 at least. I recommend, you know, 32 or more to play with the specific numbers and work with different architectures and environments and designs and machines just to kind of feel and play with it. Um, in any environment, just remember you need at least 8 out of the 12 or 8 out of the 16 or at least 6 out of the 16 to work with it. If you don't have enough, you can work with a two machines here. So, if you feel like, you don't have enough space, I recommend, you know, working with just two machines. It's okay. It's not a big deal, right? You can have two machines. You can have one domain controller and one ESXi, right? If you don't have enough space, and that's fine, not a problem. But build your machines, get those machines built, right, and then work your way around. You know, work your way around your laptop or purchase another laptop if you need to, right? Again, it doesn't matter. Just remember, you have that, and you need at least 500 GB, right? At least, right? Um, GB of hard drive space, right? And the reason why I'm saying you need that is because, I prefer to leave this alone, right? Don't save your stuff on your C drive, right, on your physical disk, but move this into something like a USB, right? And then use that approach. And I've already given you that um, push, that initial push to go ahead and buy a terabyte, 2 TB or more, or if you have a SaaS solution already, or if you have a server, even if you have a server, right? And again, the more hardware resources you have, the better it is, right? So look at the VMware compatibility guide for processors that are compatible your with VMware ESXi versions, right? So just make sure that you're ready for that. To support 64-bit virtual machines, right? Because your architecture is 64-bit. Um, Remember, you need at least a minimum of 8 physical, right? And 12 GB physical, and then at least 12 GB to run virtual machines. So in a typical production environment, right? So it's important, and I'll write that down. So ESXi requires um, a minimum of 8 GB of physical RAM, and then you need to provide at least 12 GB of RAM to run virtual machines. And in a typical production environment, right? But we're going to be using our test environments first, right? The lower the better, right? Test. This is important. So I will make this a little bit bigger for you, and I will put that in red. So ESXi requires a minimum of 8 GB of physical RAM. Provide at least 12 GB of RAM to run physical virtual machines, right? You can play with these 12 GB of RAM on these virtual machines, right? So just remember these virtual machines support hardware virtualization um, for Intel VTX. So we're going to be enabling Intel VTX for hypervisors. X or AMD if you have an AMD processor or VI on 64-bit CPUs, right? Like I said, you also need, and these are some great requirements, right? So the requirements. And I will say that you need one or more gigabit or faster Ethernet controller, right? And for the network adapter models, I would also look at the compatibility guide, VMware compatibility guide, right? Space, but okay. Just remember if you're running a SCSI disk or a local non-network RAID LUN with unpartitioned space for virtual machines, you also need um, at least 32 G of persistent storage. So you'll need your um, VM or disk will need at least 32 GB of persistent storage. And when we talk about persistent storage, that could be a hard drive, SSD, or NVMe, right? Just remember a boot device cannot be shared between ESXi hosts, right? So just make note of that. I'm going to put that in our notes here. I'm going to put here. Okay. And I want to make this a little bit smaller. And, and all right. So excuse my mistakes here, but you guys kind of get the gist. All right. So again, this was our architecture. I'm just gonna get to it. I'm so excited to start this off to kind of get back to the thing, and I will keep this drawings for you. Let's just get to it, right? Let's get this going. I'm gonna save this picture, and I'm gonna put it in our notes, right? And I'm also gonna save this picture, and I'm gonna put this in our notes, right? As some good read, and I will post it in a separate slide. That way, I know we talked about this, and again, these are just examples. Um, to each its own. Everybody's got his own operating system and its own environments. Just remember that when you're building your operating system on these hypervisors, right, or hypervisor, or installing the ESXi hypervisor software, or just the Windows software, and then on top of that, you're creating you're basically um, this one here. I will to shapes out. There we go. So right here is where your software you're gonna configure your network host name, DNS sub and other, right? That's what we're gonna do together, and we're gonna do this all together. Okay. And that's within that. And then within here, we would, in our domain controllers, we're going to, um, our domain controllers, what we're going to do is we're going to install a DDS, right, for AAA, right? And that's going to be our domain controller. And then we'll install DNS. Well, you would install it, right? But DNS is already, you're going to DNS and then you're going to add the role for that. You're also going to add the role for that if you haven't done so, right? And, we can also have DHCP, but this is optional. And this is for optional. And you'll add role if you want to. And then you also have a global catalog, right? You have a global catalog. So there's that. I hope that's easy so far. It should be easy. But again, in my environment, I'm going to show you guys this is already done, right? So this is already done. Um, hopefully, you know, you guys are going to do this for yourselves in your Windows environment, right? And you're going to go through all this stuff yourself. I've already done this, and I'm going to now start with the lab. Yay. So I'm going to open up our lab today. Right? And I'm going to minimize this. And these are our three ESXi's, right? As you can see, our ESXi's are created and all ready to go. I've given two processors, Intel VT, uh, hard disk, given network adapters. I've given four network adapters for, this is going to be for vSphere testing. Um, there's a reason for that. And then there's one other one. This is, same thing, concept, all set up here, right? And this is going to have one network adapter, and this is already set up here with IPs and everything. And this is going to have 10 network adapters. And there's a reason why I have all this. It's 12 GB of memory, 250 GB of hard disk space. Again, this is just for testing. This isn't going to be for a lot like videos or just enough, right? Remember, in our production environment, you're gonna have terabytes of this, right? Your server's gonna have terabytes or petabytes or exabytes of space, so that way you can create your virtual machines within this, right? You're gonna have a lot. The bigger the software, the more cores you're gonna add um, on your virtual machine. So just make note of that. And this is virtual VMware 7. Here's our server. This is our domain controller. So if I open up my server manager, it'll have the roles and features uh, that we talked about. Right? ADDS for AAA domain controller, right? And a static IP, and this is already joined to the domain. Another thing I want to make note is this is um, So again, these two or four machines. Again, you can have two, you can have four, many as you want on this physical server or within these virtual machines. I recommend two if you don't have enough space. I've given you the minimum requirements. Minimum, right? Um, that way, you know, you can build this stuff, um, right? Yeah, there's people that have laptops with, you know, 24 and 16 and 32. That's fine. Just remember you have all that information available for you just in case, right? So you have all these minimum requirements that we spoke about. Uh, so this is done. So these are the roles in my server. Uh, Again, ADDS role, right? So I'm just basically adding in the ADDS role. And I would go to the dashboard and I would add the roles and features. So this is where I would add my roles and features for my ADDS, my DNS for role-based or feature-based, whatever the for a single service. So I can add a role, I can add a role service or a feature. If these were VDIs, I can install role services for VDIs to create these virtual machine based or session based desktop deployments, right? Um, this is another session. I have a video on that as well too. In my a security month folder in YouTube, where I talk about VDIs and persistent and non-persistence. So that's something you want to watch. You're more than welcome to. Again, this server here as my domain controller, and this will act as my DNS, where it'll resolve IP addresses to host names and host names to IP addresses. And then I also have my DHCP, et cetera, et cetera. There's some other rules in here, but this was more for troubleshooting. I also have federated services, DHCP, right? I have scopes that I want to set up for that for setting up uh, images on my laptops, uh, so I sign DHCPs for, you know, to use that to set up those laptops, right? So that's ready to go. Or you could set up your own little switch and configure the switch locally where it reads the image, right? And then connect the image to the switch and give it the necessary functions of it. But again, teach its own. Everybody's got his own way of doing it. So role-based, feature-based. Make sure it selects the server from the server pool, and the server understands that this is the only server that is available, right? And the data center version is 2022, and we're gonna write that down. Windows Server 2022. Just remember all these machines are, but your machine's going to be 2012, 2016, or 2019, right? Doesn't matter. And before I do that, I want you to type in Windows Server downloads Microsoft ISO, and this will bring you to Windows Server, and you can select and choose all these products that are here. Just select one of the products, for example, 2016. You can create a bootable USB drive or a DVD drive and connect that to your physical disk. So you can create this bootable DVD or CD and then walk over to the LAN cabinet and, plug it into um, here, right? Or plug it into here, wherever, right? And that'll be your connection, right? So your DVD, right? And then that'll be your connection. So If you want to learn how to create a bootable USB or DVD that can you use to install your Windows Server on devices, you can create the media isolation media, which is really crucial in setting up your new server or upgrade from the existing one, right? So just remember that you have aside your minimum requirements um, for Windows Server. Make sure you read all this stuff, right? And here's a way how to create an NTFS, right? Which is just kind of cool. I'm not going to do this for you, but again, you're going to install the Windows Server environment, and this will teach you how to do it exactly if this is your first time. Okay, so I'm going to copy this and I'm going to post this in our notes as an important read, right? And I'm going to put this here and put that as part of our notes for our USB. And again, this is for serverless. If you want to use server core, everybody who wants to do that, you're more than welcome to do that, right? If you want to install rules or features, just remember to install the rules or features in a Windows server. Just make sure you read the prerequisites and follow the instructions as we discussed, right? So remove a rule and feature, same thing. This is the instructions, right? Same thing, you manage rules and features, etc., etc. But in this instance, you are following the add-in rules features, right? So is what I'm showing you right now. So I'm going to go ahead and copy this for you so that way you guys have it. And I'm going to put this um, in my notes. Okay, and I'll also put this in here. I showed you the folder structure. Um, and that's in your USB or SAN, NAS, sorry, NAS or SAN or server, right? Um, it could be a USB that, it could be anything, right? It could be a, a USB hard drive. It could be anything you want, just as long as you have that space. I recommend 2 terabytes. Terabyte gives you enough time and enough play to play with this kind of stuff. So learn how to do that. So as you can see, here's my server. Um, I noticed something in the IP addresses. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna open up the network settings and take a look at what's going on. And this is where we're gonna set up our networking. I noticed something like an PIPA address. And I think these are the two. Let's see. Yeah, I'm going to click OK, remove IPv6, go to the properties in IPv4, and I am going to give it an IP address. So I think I already have an IP address already set because this is a different VLAN. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick to the 200. Um, I have my DNS set up. And let's see what my machine name is. Let's kind of get some information here. Let's do an IP config for networking. PIPA. Let's do a who am I. Uh, okay, let's get a NS lookup. Get the name. So unknown. Control X. So it doesn't have a name, right? So let's see what name it's because I know I changed via networks. I changed the networks and whatnot. And I think on this one I gave it 200. You're on the network or VLAN 200, and I've given this machine 1. ESXi 2 is 2 and 3. So what I'll do is I'll give this as a 10, and I think I have this already set up in my Static IP. I do not have that set up yet. I do have that set up. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is find out what the name is of this because I'm playing. Like I said, these are old machines. These are machines that we just activated the license again. So I'm going to be playing a lot with these machines, and I'm going to be doing a lot of changes. Uh, and do I have a name? Did I name this PC? So yeah, this PC is DC server, right? So this is DC server. So what I'm going to do is delete it and rename it. So I'm going to control V, C, and I'm going to do host name to see what the name is. Yeah, servers, DC server S. All right, so this is a little crazy. So what I'll do is server. Let's rename this machine. Um, no, because I've already given this a. Let's give this another. Configure a DNS server. No. So what I'm going to do is I'll keep this. I'll have this, and I'll add it into here. Okay. All right. So it's gonna be I have an idea. So what this is gonna be is okay, I got an idea here. Salt. I'm gonna just do a little change here. DNS. So I will have um okay, and then I'll have my ESXi one as and then I'll have my ESXi's. So I have an idea. I'm just mapping it out here as I move along. Um, Again, yours could be a Class A, a Class B, or Class C. Um, I've already pointed my MECMPS to 10. Um, but again, I have my uh, yeah, so this is going to be my DNS server. My DNS server is going to be 10, and then I'm going to have my um, DC as 100.10. Okay, okay, I have an idea. I have 15, 16, 17. So 15, that's okay, not a big deal. 12, 13, and 14 as the exercise. Also have 12, 13, and 14. Okay. So 12, 13, and 14. So what I'll do is that's gonna be my okay. So I'm gonna create a DNS record. Uh, so that's created. All right, created, and let's see if we're in our So once that's created, see if my reverse lookup zone is created now. Perfect. Okay, so I'm going to create 3 more machines. I'm not going to make this complicating. I'm just going to create this as 1, right? And that's going to be 192.168.100 dot 12, right? And then, so that's ESXi1, close. And I'm going to do this. 13. Two, ESXi2 at host. And then I'm going to make the other one 14. And then add host. Okay, done. And then this one here is properties. And I'm going to rename this to that. I'm going to delete this. Cancel. Move. Delete. I'm going to create one more and make it uniform because I think I've already had this. So I'm just going to leave it as is. And I'm going to create that pointer record. Hit OK. Done. So here's our 4 machines. This is what our 4 machines are going to look like, right? So I just got to change the static IP addresses in this and make sure the static IP addresses follow and are uniform to what we're typically using right now, right? And I want to make sure that we're all on the same VMnet 15 for no particular reason. Doesn't matter where you're on. Uh, okay. Okay, so that's done. Once you have that ready to go, you're going to open up your IP for that. Let's see what this is. This is maybe for internet. So Ethernet 0 is going to be your local LAN. This is going to be your LAN, right? And then that's going to be for internet. Just remember that so you're not confused what that is. And remember that we call this physical NIC, right? And then this is going to be internet, right? And then this is going to be LAN. Internet. Internet. Enter. Okay. So we're gonna configure the LAN to static IP. Just remember you remove your IPv6, TCP IPv6, and your IPv4. You're gonna go to properties. We know that our DNS preferred DNS server is 10. Our default gateway is the same, and our IP address is this. What was what we gave it? Can be anything, right? Subnet mask is 255.255. Again, it doesn't matter. It can point to itself. So you'll probably get an error, but again, it'll point to itself. I can guarantee you. This will probably remove because it's pointing to itself. So I'm gonna close that and I'm gonna disable, enable, and then I'm gonna run ipconfig. Didn't come out yet, so I'm going to do a flush DNS, register DNS, then and register DNS in elevation. Okay, sure. Yeah. ipconfig /all. I think that worked. I think it already worked, but you'll see that it picked up our name. It's resolving. So I'm glad that it's resolving. It's picking up the preferred IP address. DNS server is working. Our default gateway again. It points to itself, so it's probably gonna now give us a default gateway. And then it also has internet for DHCP. So I have DHCP set up, perfect, just for internet. I don't really need internet, so I'm gonna disable. In case I need it, I'll always put it back, right? So I'll disable that for now. Um, yeah, so that's all. I don't really need it for anything else. Um, let's see, and then I'm going to do an NS lookup. It's resolving IP addresses, perfect. Um, I think that's it. It's good. It's giving me the host name, perfect. And then it'll give me the host name, which is what I want. And who am I? Perfect. So we're connected to the domain. Okay, so and then it'll give me the all the domain groups. Perfect. Okay, fantastic. Everything's good to go. All right, so let's go ahead and configure our ESXi machine. And we're going to change that to 100.10. 100. What did we say it was? 13, 14. So 12, 13, and 14. Let me refresh. So my reverse lookup zone. Okay. There we go. So there's my, so these 12, 13, and 14. 12, 13, and 14. 12, 13, and 14. So let's go ahead and do that. So you're going to click inside and you're going to press F2. You're going to log in as your root user. I'm not going to install this for you. This was already discussed. I'm going to put in my root password. I'm going to enter. And I'm going to configure the network management network. And this is where if I want to add a VLAN within our physical environment, because several VLANs can coexist, it's optional. If you're unsure how to configure a VLAN, it's safe to leave it unset. This is just a test environment. This isn't an architecture where you need networking, and your network engineers can go ahead and do that, or your cloud engineers can do this for you. It's pretty straightforward. Um, Technical team, this is fine. So I'm going to set up my IPv4 configuration, and we're not going to disable it. We're not going to use dynamic IPv4s. We're going to be using static. And this is where I'm going to delete the first two. And we said that this one is 12. Did I say 12? 12, 12, 13. All right, so 12. Doesn't matter what it is, but again, this could be anything. Um, Subnet mask is fine. Default gateway is pointing to the default gateway, what we said. I'm just going to hit OK. IPv4 is not set. You could disable it, right? Disable it, and then I'm going to hit OK. So that's disabled. And then my DNS is, my host name's already set, right? So as you can see, I set it. I put in my preferred DNS and I gave it the name that I gave it and my DNS record. Just make sure it's copied exactly the same. Yours is going to be ESXi1 or whatever. It's going to be whatever you want it to be. But in this case, I think I'm just going to call it Ken. Oh, I'm going to add, because I know I said we're going to make data centers, but it doesn't matter how you name it, but your nomenclature. And eventually you'll see in when we're creating data centers in our vSphere clients, in our vCenter, I'll create folders within that. But again, you can name it however you want. I know in my ESXi 8, I gave it a Canadian name, and I did state that, if you are creating um, servers in availability zones, and those servers must have the right country code if you are adding the country code, and in those availability sets, so data centers, you're making sure that the data center names are also included in there as well too. That way, the availability of where it's located, you have that, and so forth. So I'm going to put ESXi01, and I want you guys to do the same thing. Yours can be anything you want, right? I selected it, and I'm just going to hit OK, and you'll see that that's it. And then if I have any custom DNS suffix, I think I want it to be, all right, and hit OK. And I'm going to escape. And I'm going to say yes. Okay. And it's going to restart for me. So as this restarts, we can go ahead and create the other one. But I'm just going to wait for this to start first. So it's going to restart. It's going to go through its, and this is ESXi 7. Just going to wait till this loads so that I don't use up a lot of memory. Just remember, if you're not using these machines, you're going to have 1 or 2 machines at most. This one here has 16 GB of memory. This one here has 8 GB. This is just a domain controller. I can even give it less. I can go down to 2 GB at most. I can give it 2 GB. Just remember to power it off. You can play around with it. It still works. Once it's installed, typically to install the software, we leave it at 8, but or 12, and then you can just bring it down to like, as you're not really using it as much. Doesn't take up a lot of space. So, okay, and then I'm gonna refresh, and there you go. This is done. Okay, it's removed, and then we're gonna go to. It did not change it. Why? Um, what happened? Didn't save it. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and figure out why I did that. Go back and put our IPs in, why didn't it save it? I said it was 100. Space, mark selected. The the gateway is 100. Okay. So dot 10 tab, and this is going to be 100. Then, right? And our DNS is going to be 100. 100. Okay. And our custom suffix is one custom suffix. That's why it's picking up that. Okay. And hit OK. Yeah, perfect. And I'm going to escape. And I'm going to say yes. And that should restart it. No. Perfect. And hey, that's 12. And I'm going to put the password in and restart it. Apologize there. And I'm going to terminate the running VMs if any. And I'm going to select it, and I'm going to F11. And that's going to restart it. And I'll do the same thing on ESXi2. Press F1, F2 to sign in. And then put in my password. Enter. And we are going to go ahead and configure the network management. Again, this is simple. We're not doing any network adapters. We only know that we have a VM NIC, so they'll provide the default network connection to and from its host. So when we have two more adapters are used, the connection will be fault tolerant, and any outgoing traffic will be load balanced. We're not going to be using optional. Well, it's optional, but we're not going to be doing any VLANs. That's all done already. More than welcome to if you want to. We are going to configure the IPv6 and disable that. And I'm going to select it with the space bar, and then I'm going to hit OK. Right, so that's disabled. And then I'm going to go to my DNS configuration, and I'm going to use the following DNS address, and I'm going to set it to 100. 200 was the other location, and my host name that I gave it. I'm just going to hit OK. And then I'm going to go to my IPv4, and I'm going to select a static IP, and I'm going to change it to, we said 13 for 12, 13, and 14. That's going to be 100. And we're going to move the default gateway to our network VLAN 100 and our host 10. Our network 192.168.100 and our host is 10. So that's all configured. Subnet mask is 255.255.255.0. We are going to hit enter, and then exit with escape. We're going to apply all these changes that we made to the host network so we don't lose them. Hit the Y key, and then that'll restart. So I hope, and then Control Alt to leave. So we should have our first machine ready to go, our second machine in progress, and our third machine is going to have our configurations, right? So let's go ahead and again, I'm gonna change this. I can do whatever I want to this, right? But it's just all up to you. I'm gonna hit space to go in or control double click to go inside or any key. Then I'm gonna hit F2 to customize the system or view logs. I'm gonna sign in with my password. I gave it. Right? And I'm gonna disable IPv6. I can configure the password here, configure lockdown mode. I'm gonna set authorized access to the system, which is typically something that you would want to do. In this instance, you want to set the BIOS password. Um, so typically we would set this password for the user. Um, you configure lockdown mode or reconfigure lockdown mode. You can view the system logs. You can view the serial numbers or thumbprints, which is really important with the vSphere client. And you can configure the shell here if you want, if you're the shell or SSH, and we're going to configure our network management again here, right? So we know that our DNS is incorrect. And we know that our machine, if we have an alternate DNS, we put our alternate DNS. But again, it's totally up to you. Again, this could be a 10 dot machine. It could be with it could be a 172.16. It could be a 192 machine. It could be anything you want it to be. I'm just giving it any machine number that I want. And then I'm giving it the hosting that we said that we're going to give it. And that's based on the DNS. Now, if it's not similar to the DNS, then it won't work. So just be sure that you're copying what you put in the DNS. It's very finicky. So I'm going to hit OK. And I think the DNS is set. Custom DNS. We are going to give it one custom DNS to the 100 section. I don't know why it gave us this one here. I don't want this one. And I'm going to hit enter. And I'm going to change my IP address. I'm going to space to select static. And then I'm going to set it to 100.14. Right? And then 255.255.255.0. And I'm going to give it 198.162.168.100. Gateway. Again, it points to itself. We might not need a gateway, but again, it's always good to put the gateway if you have one. Hit okay. And I'm going to exit. And I'm going to say yes. And bang, that's it. So everything's good to go. We have all the settings that we need. Just make sure that I have everything. This is enabled still wide. And I'm going to, because I didn't save it. I'm going to hit enter. I'm going to select with my space bar on the keyboard. Then I hit OK for enter. Then I'm going to put my IPv4, IPv6, okay. DNS configuration, hostname, and suffix. Save this because I didn't save it yet. So it probably took over. And I'm going to hit escape. I'm going to say yes. And it's going to restart. So my machines are ready. So let's go into our domain controller and try to log in through our internet, right? Remember what we said? We're going to um, log in and test all these machines, right? So we're going to log into our internet locally, intranet locally in our LAN, and see if that works, right? So that's going to be a secure connection. Obviously, we'll have to set up this secure connection in the LAN. and that's pretty straightforward. So what I'll do, say this was 12. Why did it change back? This is weird. Okay, this is wrong. Um, sorry, apologize. This is going to be a quick fix, but get used to it. If you make mistakes, it's okay. Enter. Um, let's make this change. Enter IPv4 12, 12. Okay, disabled. Okay, should have one suffix. Hit OK. Exit. Yes. Escape. That's 12. So this will become common misconception. Spacebar to forcefully terminate any VMs. And I'm going to do hit of 11 to restart it. And that's what I wanted to do. And then I'm going to go to my other machine, make sure that that's consecutive. That's correct. That's correct. And that's correct. So let's go ahead and try to log into my um, ESXi2 and ESXi3 to see if that's working. Let's see what's going on. Okay, so we will do 2. Enter. Slash UI. That should work now. See what happens. Did I? Yeah, there we go. So there we go. So this is what you're going to see in an advanced and then continue for ESXi1. So let's try ESXi2. Delete 2. Make sure that pops up. There you go. All right. You'll have to put your certificates in. 1, 2, and then we'll do 3. And that should work. There you go. So here you go. You're able to now log in. Let's take a look at the licensing to see if there's anything in here, what I've done here before in the past. I may have installed some machines. They probably won't work, but let's go ahead and shell in these and get these done. Um, there you go. So these machines I've already, I think I've created before. Um, so not now. Um, all right. Here's my storage, my data stores, my network management, virtual switches, VM NICs. Okay. TCP stacks. Um, should be print this out. Hit OK. Okay, save. So I configured the DHCP stack. I'm happy that's done. Um, so it says my license expired. So what happens is in this instance, um, we're gonna enter, like we said, we're gonna enter the mode, but I want to take a look at the licensing. Yeah, see that had the Enterprise Plus license for vSphere 7 that expired a few years back. Um, did I set off it? No, I didn't do it here. There's no ESX. Let's go ES admin. I set that up. Not yet. So we're getting there. User virtual machines are all gone. Okay, so first thing you want to do is it's expired. So you'll see here it's expired. What you want to do is you want to put yourself in and enter yourself into maintenance mode. So that's the first thing we're going to do. So we've introduced the client to you. We've created all this stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and highlight this in green. Right here, what we're going to do is we're going to first we're going to introduce the client and we're going to extend it, but we're going to have to download the putty, right? So we'll do that here. And, and two, right? And this stuff here I've already introduced beforehand. So uh, make this a little bit smaller. So that's done. Smaller. Center. So this is important. Again, this is all important stuff. Okay, so that's good. Okay, so all right. So we're going to extend this more, and our evaluation period is a little stubborn. So we're going to enter the hosted to maintenance mode, and then SSL shall enable it. So I'll show you how to do that. I'm going to say yes, and then we're going to go to actions again, and you'll see the yellow tape around the server. That means that you're in maintenance mode. And then what you'll do is you'll enable secure shell one, and you'll see that it's enabled on the host, and you'll also enable the console shell, which is what we want. And that's it. In the meantime, I'm going to show you where the storage is. So this is our storage, and this is where our web browser is, and this is where we're going to create, directories in here, and we're going to call it ISO. All right. Create a directory, and we're going to put our virtual machines in here, and our virtual machines are going to be saved in here, right? So our virtual machines, this is our virtual machine servers. So we're going to do the servers here, right? This is our Canadian data center. You could do whatever you want, right? And you'll have your different servers, um, right? And then I'll create another one for machines wherever I want these machines to be placed. And again, this is all IP based, right? We'll base this on subnets after, but um, within that subnet, but within our Canadian data center, we have our provinces. We can put our provinces based on our application uh, um, groups, right? So we have Ontario, Quebec, machines that are Ontario, we'll have machines, and then this one we can kind of move. And this is what I was telling you. We can't move it because we're in maintenance mode. So you might not be able to move it unless we remove ourselves from maintenance mode. So what I'll do is I'll select the destination, and if it moves, it moves. If not, then yeah, it won't move. You can't even copy or anything. You have to get out of that. So I'll just create these directories right now. I'll create one for Quebec, and then one for Manitoba or Vancouver. Right. And then I'll create another one, create directory, and we'll call it Quebec. Right. And then we'll create another one. Oh, we'll create another one. We'll create it Vancouver. Right. So I'll delete. It lets me. Oh, okay. I'm glad that let me too. So as you can see, I created, and then I'll show you guys how to move that once I'm out. So my ISO images, this is where I'll copy and paste it. I can't do that right now, but I just want to, we'll do that. That's our next step. I'll do that next, just to show you our browser. This is where our browser is going to be. And again, this is where, and this runs off of an VMFS6 volume. So this is where we can host our partitions um, and we can increase capacity here if we want and expand or add extent to the specific device within here. Um, I think currently I gave 175. Again, there's 175 for a reason. I think I can extend it. Let's see if I can add an extent to existing VMFS. Let's see what happens here next. Well, based on whatever total I gave it, but it doesn't matter. It's okay. It is what it is. Not a problem. Just to kind of give you guys an example, I did not set up iSCSI, so it probably won't show me, but that's fine. Who cares? It is what it is. I'll just install one piece of software for now. Um, I have 175 gigabytes, so I should be okay. TCP stack is set. This is all defaulted. I don't need to figure this yet. I'm not going into this is another day. And okay, so these are invalid machines. Okay. Well, we're going to download Putty. I'll download Putty for you guys now. Let's download Putty. Download Putty. Right? And again, you can click on the link here to download Putty. And drag it in. In my other video, I showed you guys how to create shared folders. Right, you have your shared folders you can enable. On the DC. I don't have internet. Great, I don't have internet. So let's see. It's because I removed it. Dumb. So this is where I'm going to go to here. I'll go to my network adapters and I will enable the internet. And I should be able to get internet in a second. I refresh, there you go. So I'm going to download Putty. And I'm going to download the 64-bit architecture. So I'm going to be downloading this for SSH and Telnet clients. Hit OK. And this will be in the downloads folder. So I'm just going to, oh, see, look, I already had it. That's fine. I'm going to open it up. And I'm going to put the putty into the host name. Right? One. I'm going to hit OK. And I'm going to say connect once. And I'm going to log in as my ESXi1. And you'll see that my putty's open right now. And I will try to connect to another one if I can. Do the same thing for all three. So let's do this all at once here. ESXi2, Control A, cut V. So I'm going to open up my connections here. I'm going to have 3 connections. Oh, what happened? And, oh, it's inactive. Why is it inactive? ESXi2. Let's try to open up another connection. ESXi02. Hit OK. Oh, I cannot have. Okay. Well, it's because I'm not logged in. All right, so let's log in. Okay. Ah, wrong domain. Okay, so I'm going to change my TCP IP stack. Make sure that I'm set up properly. All right, done. Save. So I should work. Refresh, refresh, refresh. That'll change my host. Oh, and I need to enable that. So that's the next step I'm going to do on this one. And I will put that in maintenance mode. Remember, put it in maintenance mode and then enable the TCP or enable the secure shell. Again, as you could see, you're currently using it in evaluation mode. This license will expire in 59 days. Okay, I guess I don't have to do that. So I'm going to remove that. I don't have to do that. And are my machines, and these are my machines. What happened here? Okay. You're currently in evaluation mode. So let's move out of maintenance mode. That looks like this is fine. Okay. I won't be connecting these machines together. I'm not worried about that right now. Um, these are this our iSCSI software. I'm not going to be doing that. Uh, yeah, that's a different topic. Um, this is needs to be turned on for Active Directory. No, that's fine. I'll do this after. I just want to make sure that this is set properly. Refresh. All right, so that's good. These are my 2 virtual machines. So I should be able to power these on. I think. check to see if I'm able to power this on. Looks like this is powered on. Fine. All right, so that's okay. Okay. Let's go to this one here. Let's log into this one. Let's get this one going. Swap my ESXi's. All right, let's change. These are my store switch, my retro empire, but this was an old machine 4 years ago, at least 4 or 5 years ago. So, um, all the virtual machines that I built, I haven't used this in so long. All right, so training. Um, let's do the TCP IP stack. Edit. So this one is going to have my new IP based on that gateway, and I should be able to refresh. So my new, okay, perfect. This one is expired, so this one here I have to enter into maintenance mode, and I'll have to enable secure SSH, and I will also have to enable the console shell, right? So that's completed successfully. Here's my first machine. So let's go ahead and putty into this machine one at a time. Let's see if I'll be able to putty into all of them at the same time. Um, let's go ahead. All right. 01. Hit OK. What is going on? Okay, so let's do this. Let's do ESXi. There we go. Connect once, and I'm going to log in to this quickly. There we go. I'm logged in, and I'm also going to do one for 2. It allows me for concurrent connections. It'd be great. Will allow me for concurrent connections? No. Fine. All right, so it just allows me for one. I don't care. It's okay. It's all good. I'll just do this one at a time. So if we go back to our last session here, um, we enter in our password. We run these commands here. So this is the first command we're gonna run. This is the second command we're gonna run. All right, and this is the third command we're gonna run to list it, and then we're going to reboot. So once we're rebooting, we can move on to the next one. So our first one, we're gonna locate the VMware license file, and I'm gonna do a side to side. It's okay. Paste. And sometimes, yeah, it's not found, but what we'll do is if it doesn't give me, I hope spaces. There we go. There we go. So if it requires me to remove that license file, then obviously there's an existing license that's attached to it. So what I'm going to do is list it first. I want to list it to see what's there, just to kind of give you guys an idea. So if you do see, you'll see the um, list. Let's see. Let's list the VMware folder, ESCT VMware folder. VMware. See what you can find there. So you'll see the license configuration file that's in there, and you also see the um, VMware license file. So if there's a license that's already existed, remove that first, and then remove the license config file next, right? So in each order, that's what you're gonna do. Okay, and all right. So I'm gonna go ahead and put that back. Um, yes. And then we're going to remove the second, which is license config. Copy, paste. Oop. All right. I'm going to enter. So that once we see the remove, we're going to say Y as for yes, and then hit enter. And then this is where we're going to put ls-ect/vmware. And we're going to list what's in that folder. And you should now see it empty. Once that's empty, we're able now to reboot the machine. And once we're able to reboot that machine, you'll note that the server is going to reboot shortly. So that's one. So I'm going to wait for that to boot. And as we wait, you guys kind of get the gist of things. And you're gonna also do the same thing for ESXi 2 for your homework and ESXi 3, but because this video is going to be too long, I'm going to cut it short and just do one for now. 2 should also be okay, but make sure that 3 is fine if you do have 4 machines, right? And once that's done, uh, resolving the DNS here. So um, see what happens. Um, did it reset? Yeah, it reset. This is ready. This is ready. Um, let's just log into one for now. Again, I want you to do the same thing for all 3 of them, right? You guys kind of get the gist of it. So once we log in, should be okay now. I don't know what this is, but there's no machines here. So we will create a machine. Again, you can also create a machine here, right? So we can create a machine here since the host in this one is fine. This one has 59 days. And let me see if my license should be fine now. Once I remove it out of, yeah, see, there you go, 60 days. So what I'll do now is I'll exit maintenance mode, and I'll have my 60 days of experience here, and I'll make sure all 3 of them are done. I'm not gonna do all 3 of them now, but I want to make sure that you guys, at least I have 2 for now. I should be okay for now. When I move on to my next project. Then I want to go to the data store, and I should be able to now move it. Once I remove it, I should be able to move Ontario. All right. So let's do this and move. I move that to the Canadian Data Center, which is going to move. And you'll see that move. Go back to the Canadian Data Center, move. Vancouver to the Canadian Data Center, move. So forth. In this instance, we'll also have a US data center, right? And within that US data center, I will move it to and then within here, um, this I'll move to Canadian, right? And I'll hit OK. So I'll have Ontario, Quebec, and then in the US, I'll have another, I'll open the US directory, and I'll create a directory and I'll call it Iowa. Uh, call Florida, Virginia, and Florida. Well, New York. New York. All right. Doesn't matter what you call it, but again, it will call it whatever we want. We'll rename this. This I'm going to delete. And I want to keep it uniform, so I'll keep it. It's okay. Oh, that's okay. So anyway, try to keep your stuff uniform. Um, give it numbers, right? Like, for example, Ontario will create in the Canadian data center, we'll create another data center. We'll call it 01. 01 dot Ontario, or sorry, for the software. So we'll do Ontario. Um, create. And then for ISOs, we'll create one for servers. 01. The Windows servers. Right. And then we'll create another one for Windows clients. So 02 clients. Right. All right. And then within here, I'll create another directory and I'll call it 01 Windows Server and then version number 2012. Right. And then I'll create another one, call it 02 Windows Server 2022. Doesn't matter. Whatever you want to heart's content. Then I will try to upload something in the 2012. So what I'll do is I'll click here and I'll upload something that I have, and let's see what I have in my downloads from before. Do I have anything in my downloads? This PC, do I have my network drive? Yes, I do. Windows Server, yes, I do. I have all my servers here. So this is going to be my R12, and I'm going to open that, and that's going to download. So as we wait to download, here's my virtual machines that I should be able to power on. So VMware Tools is not installed. So let's see if we can power on both machines at once, because that's what we need to do. And once they're powered on, I should be able to wait for this machine to come on. And then I'll install the guest on Uh, so we got 2016. Like this one. So what I'll do is uh, I'll wait as we wait for that one, or if we can, what I'll do is I'll create and register a new machine. I'll just create a new machine, and we'll call it primary site server, US, Canada, US, right? If you're in US, you can use Brazil. If you're in another state, you can use another state. Uh, so virtual machine version is the latest version. This is guest OS is Windows, and the guest version we're going to be using here today is 2012, right? Because that's what I want to use. And I will click next. Just remember, we created this. You need to create a DNS record for this, right? So we'll go ahead and create the DNS record based on another subnet that I had, and we'll go from there. Okay. I'll make this quick. This has to be 12. Do I have 12? Let's put the 8 for now. It doesn't matter. This is going to be 250. And I'm going to add another disk. And it's going to be saved in. Okay, that's good. It's going to create its own data store here. So that's what we want. I'm okay with that. In a test environment, we're going to be using thin provisioned. Obviously in a production environment, you'll be using yearly zeroed. We're just going to test it out for now. And then we're going to connect the device as soon as that works. And connect the network adapter. And our network adapter is next. It's the network adapter I want to use. It's fine. I'm not going to use the whole thing. And add another hard disk. So new standard hard disk. Where's my part 2? And this is going to be adding, say, 500. Should be good. No MAC address yet. And I will add another network adapter. Make sure that they're connected. And we're waiting for our ISO. Well, we don't have 12 yet, so 2016 it is. So we'll keep whatever we got. So once that is connected, that's connected at power on. Not going to touch anything else. This is ready to go. Next, this size is available. What do you mean it's available? All right, and we'll do that. Just make sure your hardware, your ESXi has enough. I just, whatever, I gave it 16. It can have more. Obviously. What else did I give it here? I think I gave it 150. But we're just doing minimums right now. I give it 300. I've already probably used. I just gotta delete some machines in order to gain the space. Um, I didn't really give any numbers or specify any numbers. I just know that these are the minimums for testing purposes. So just play with what you have. All right, so here's the settings. And again, in a real environment, you're going to be have a lot more space. So I'm gonna shut these off. We don't need these machines. And this machine I'm gonna power on. So I'm gonna remember double click. And hold on, wait a minute. Not enough memory to create the. Oh, it's got 8 megabytes. Oh my God. Okay, so um, I'll have to power this off. Power off the machine. I gave it 8 megabytes. Wow, that's enough for an image. When you're cloning your machines from your template machines. So what I'm gonna do is right click here, and I will edit the settings, and I'm gonna give myself 4 GB or 8 GB if I have enough, and then hit save. And once I give it my 8 GB, I'll go back to the top here, and I'm going to power it on. So this is where I'm going to double click on it, and it should work now. There we go. So there you have it. While this machine is installing, I've already created a video on this for step one. This is my US data center um, server with 2016. I'm downloading my 2012, right? And then I have my 2022 that I'm going to download. Then I have my Windows 10 and 11 if I want to download. But again, with space, with time. And I also have my Canadian data centers and my US data centers. So when I set up my data stores, I'm going to set up my ESXi targets, my initiators, and um, so that's another topic. I'm not doing software SAN. I don't have vSAN here yet. Um, you know, nor do I have um, set up my iSCSI targets and my initiators. No, I didn't set that up yet, but eventually I might have to in another session when I'm doing vCenter. So again, make sure you have all three machines ready to go. Um, like I said, I'm logged into all of them. I'm not gonna leave this in maintenance mode for now. Actually, I don't want to use it right now. I'm just gonna log off. Just remember to do what we said. Um, so this machine's in maintenance. Denote by the um, yellow stripe tag, and ESXi is expired. So I did this yesterday. While we're waiting for this to work, um, what I want to do is let's just run this right now. Install. Should see my 2 disks hopefully. Uh, so we're going to be using a data center, not a standard evaluation. Desktop, we're not going to be using the GUI. I mean the PowerShell version. We're going to hit next. Again, lighter machines are better. Obviously, I've seen banks use um, PowerShell, right? Serverless, which is kind of cool. That's an option. I've had videos on that as well too. So I'm going to leave everything as is and click next. And I'm going to hit escape. And I'm going to, again, minimize this, and I'll go back to my host. So this is running. Yeah, it's running. Okay. So I'm gonna go to host, and our last step um, is we're creating the machine. That's fine. We did that. We're using the ESXi requirements for that. We're not here yet. We're just here right now. We're kind of here. So this is where we are. And we did all this, right? And we did all this. So all this is done. Done. We configured. Uh, we didn't do this. We configured this, and we didn't join them to the domain yet. We need to create this. We gave it. Okay, so we did this. All right, and we need to rename it in. Actually, no, we still need to do this. We need to rename the PC, the VM, um, and join it to the domain, and then change the IP address. So that's that, and we're gonna um, give it a computer name. So change computer name, right? Inside server manager. So we're gonna give it the, and then obviously this is next. Um, yeah, sorry, I'm just moving everything around because I prefer doing this in order and how I want to do it. This is how I want to do it. I created the TCP stack already, and then we're going to join this to the domain. And then we're going to create the security groups and ESXi groups and stuff and whatnot um, after this is done. So once that's done, and let's try to see if anything changed in the IPs. Properties. Did anything change? No, nothing changed. Okay, so we're good. Okay, we're good. This is still going. This might take a little bit of time. All right, so while we're doing that, okay, so while we're doing that, what we'll do is we'll go to manage. We'll go to licensing, and we'll confirm that the license is here. So here's the license for another 60 days. Perfect. And then we'll also confirm that the license is, oh, there's my ISO. ISO is now installed. Perfect. We're going to close that. Let's confirm that the license is available. So we'll go to licensing, and there's the license for November 1st. Perfect. We got 2 months. Yay. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Now, next step is to interactive directory. Um, is before we do anything, we're going to create, we're going to create, again, we're going to go to users and we're going to look for ESXi admin. Here it is, ESXi admins. So we created the group here. So we created a local group. So this needs to be created, right? So it's going to be a global security group globally. And within that, we're going to create an administrator, local user, and we're going to create our admins, right? So um, there's no groups that we're going to create here. There's nothing that needs to be changed. All this is pretty much basic. This is created to join ESXi hypervisor to active directory, right? And this is what I mean by that. Okay. So I've created that. Perfect. Um, what's going on here? So I'm gonna have to delete this. So what I'll do is I will squirrel storage. I guess I lost space. Okay, so that's fine. Um, but yeah, this is all like I said, I gotta gain some space in here. Not a big problem. Um, I'll expand it later on. I have to do some work and expand it later on, but again, I recommend, 12 at least, for this machine. This machine's going to be big, right? So if you are going to create this machine, it should have at least 32 or 64, at least 24 to 64 GB. It's going to be a powerful machine. Um, so make sure you have your memory and your availability and your storage. Um, okay, so we'll go ahead and start the authentication here. We're going to join it to the domain. All right, so we'll add it to the domain. We're not going to put it authentication. We're going to put your username and password. And join it to the domain. There you go. So there you go. There's my domain. We should now be able to go to permissions and see that our ESXi admins are in, right? And we can create our administrator here and then log in as an administrator. But we need to put in our domain and then slash user and make him an administrator and then hit OK. Right, just make sure that's spelled properly. Then hit add user and then close. Right, permissions. So here's my user. Assign this role. So I should be able to log out of root now and join in. Let's see if the services are there. So we're going to be looking for the LWSNT, and you'll see that the Active Directory service is running. Perfect. And then we're also looking for what is it again? Uh, right here, I think. I need to figure out. Give me 1 second, guys. I have a picture here. Um, so that's done. I have a picture. Firewall set. So let me double check, guys, where that is because um, should be one of these that I'm looking for. I can't remember which one it was. So let's go back. No, no, no. That one I showed you. Um, there is a section, guys. My apologies. Give me 1 second, okay? There's another step that I want you guys to check. This is the last step, and I should be done for now. But once I get the step done, we're good to go. Just remember, have the space available. If you don't, shut off the machines that you're not using to gain the available space. Make sure you have a lot of space. Like even if you're creating, like even if your server has, like what I normally would do is give it 500 to a terabyte, and not 250. I typically would give it a terabyte. But you only have so much available in your drive, right? So make sure that your drive has enough to kind of um, use up whatever it's using, right? So if you have that terabyte, you're not using up the full terabyte, or you have 2 terabytes, you're not using up the 2 terabytes. You should have enough. Okay, that's how that works. So I'm gonna go ahead and sign in. Um, my apologies, guys, and I am missing one last section here, and the section is firewall. Did I show you that? Let's see if I showed you the firewall. Firewall rules. There's all the firewall rules. Perfect. And there's one more LSMD I showed you. Yeah. So if I go to systems here, this is the last one. We're looking for in advanced settings. We're looking for something called ESXi admins. So we're just gonna type in ESXi and hit enter. And there you have it. There's the groups that we're looking for. There should be three of these right here. So these are the plugins that we need. Right. So these are the three plugins. And I'm gonna go ahead and take a picture of that. Okay. Right. So anything with the ESXi admins. So that's that. And you have your different values. And this will check your intervals between checks between whether the group is specified. This one will control whether the group specified is automatic, and this one will give an active directory group name that's automatically granted administrative privileges on the ESXi, right? So if it's not there, then you need to create your, by default, it should normally create it, but you have to create a security group in AD, and I showed you guys how to do that. Um, let's create a user in AD, and I think I created one. It's called in production. So let's go look for that one that I just created. So just remember, you just got to create your users, basic, basic. I created one called the in prod admin, right? So that's going to be our, right? And you should also be a part of the ESXi, ESX admins, right? And then apply, hit OK, etc., etc. Done. Let's see if my other user is there. Let's see. Uh, yeah, let's go here. About that. It's probably not the users. I hit that. Okay. Well, let's check his memberships, and he is part of the ESXi. Perfect. Perfect. All right, so we're good to go. That's good. I added the user. So if I go to securities and users, sorry, if I go to hosts and I go to permissions, these are my two users. I can add my other user, which is my inprod to admin, but I would have to add the domain first, right? So I have to add that. That is a go, and he could be a again a virtual manager, could be whatever you want it to be, right? So this one again, he'll also be an administrator, and I will add the user. Oh, sorry, that has to be a dot. Okay, and there you have it, right? So let's go ahead and close this, and let's go ahead and log out, and let's go ahead and sign in as my user, right? So you have to put in the domain, right? Start logging in as my admin, Sal Cosentino admin, put our password in, and I should be able to log in. There we go. All right, there we have it. And there you have it. All right, guys, there you have it. Power off. You guys kind of get the gist. Um, this again, we can delete, we can remove, right? The storage here. If there's anything in the storage, let's see. Let's see what's in here. Um, yeah. See, there's the. We don't need this, right? So I should be able to, if I click on it, actions, and register. Yes, actions. And I'm going to unregister. And then this one here, let's see. Let's see if I can auto start it. What's this? People? No, just gonna delete this. Register. There you go. Okay. And if I create a virtual machine, let's see if I can register one. I don't have one to register, so I'll just create a new one. This is going to be here. Let's try it here. This could be Windows 2012. Next, next. Megabytes, megabytes, megabytes. It's going to be gigabytes. I don't even have enough. Memory must be less. Ah, megabytes. Sorry. So this is going to be 8 GB, right? And should be good to go. And then this one here is 100. Next. That's going to be, oh, thin provisioned. This is going to be ISO servers. server here, select. Um, it's good for now. Doesn't matter. Um, network adapters. Can I use the VMnet? Just gonna click next, next, and finish. Typically, it's a VMnet next. Finish. Virtual machine was created. So we are going to power it on, and I think we should have the disk inside, and this should work now. You have it. There's your Windows 2012 machine. Hopefully it'll finish, but it's okay. No problem. All good. I will end it for now. I guess we're at the part where, this is just going to install a Windows 2012 machine, but I want to thank you guys again for your time. And, if you have any questions or comments, please feel free to message me at any time. You'll have my um, WhatsApp channel number, WhatsApp group. Please add yourself into the WhatsApp group if you have any questions or comments while you're doing this video. Any questions, message me anytime. And again, um, okay. I'm not gonna troubleshoot that error, but yeah, that's something I'll fix. It's probably an LCK file. I'll have to check the. Again, this is why I said you need a lot of space. This was done quickly. Uh, give yourself about 500 to a terabyte when you're creating these um, machines in the data stores. So ensure that you're giving yourself more. Um, so I'm gonna have to check the path that it's at right now. Something's wrong with this, so I'll have to double check to see. It's probably done the 300. Um, yeah, I'm not gonna play with this right now. I think that's it for now. I'm gonna thank you guys again. Give yourself 500. You never know, right? Even a terabyte. It's not doesn't mean that it's gonna add up, but it's always good to give yourself extra. I might have data within here that I need to like remote into and check to see what's going on. So I might have to um review that. It's gonna power it on again. But yeah, there's some stuff. I might have to go in and log in through Shell to kind of see what's going on here. See if I can remove some space. Um, and then continue the installation. Thank you guys again. We're nearing the 3 hour mark, 2 hour mark. I'm going to stop the recording here and I want to thank you guys again. Have yourself a great week and take care.